Hey piano players, Chris here. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to do a flexible arrangement of Nearer My God to Thee. What's a flexible arrangement? Well, basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the melody, which we're going to know by ear or learn by ear, and then we're going to play around the chords, and this is going to help you to improvise and play basic embellishments without having to read music. This style is suitable for incidental music, such as when there's the offering, or when there's communion, or when people are coming in and out of church. No one's singing at this time. This is the kind of background music. And so to play in this style, you'll see it's a lot simpler than you may have thought to play around the chords. I'll show you a real basic way of doing it, and then we can go on from there and look at some more advanced ways. So we're going to take the song Nearer My God to Thee. There's a chord chart that I've put together for this tutorial, and you can see the link to that below. You'll need to have that in order to go through this video. So click on that, look at the chord chart, print it off, or look at it on a separate screen, and we'll go through this tutorial together. So Nearer My God to Thee. The first important point is that we must know the melody by ear. We can't get around that. So we need to listen to the song. This is a familiar one. You may know it already. If not, you listen over and over until you have the melody by ear, and you can play that by ear. So in this case, the simple melody for Nearer My God to Thee is this. So there's the melody. It might be slightly different depending on how you've learnt the tune, but you need to have that basic understanding of the melody. And then we take the chords. If you look at the chords that we've got on the sheet there, the simple chords there are D to start with. So it's D major, then G, and we could do a second inversion. We think of our inversions. That way we're not getting in the way of the melody there. And then we go to a D over F sharp, a slash chord, which is really the first inversion of D. So you go. Then A sus, 4 to A. So that's the simple chord. Now you could play through the whole piece if you're a beginner player just by playing those chords. Nice and softly, with some feeling. I want to show you some other ways in which you can actually play this as well, still in a simple way. You could take just the first and the fifth note of the chord, or the outside two notes of the chords that you're playing. So if we're going D, it's the D and the A. If we're playing the G inversion, the B and the G. If it's the D, F sharp and the bass with the D. So let me show you how that sounds. And when you do the sus, you don't have to play the whole chord. You can just do the sus 4. So it just shows you a way you can break it down. It doesn't sound so sort of blocky in playing all the chords. Then you could do a simple arpeggio, either of 2 notes or 3 notes in the chord. So 2 notes would be or 3 notes. Then you can look at the left hand, doing a 1-5-8 bass is one idea. F sharp under the D chord. So you see there's some different ways you can play, and the whole point is that you can mix and match these, but at its basic level you could play those 2 notes sounds fine. Okay, then we've got the B minor on the second part of the verse there. then the E minor 7, D over F sharp, A7, and then the D sus4. Okay, you could also in the left hand start to, if you can do that stretch, play either a 10th for the D or a 1, 5, 8, 9, 10. You see there, they kind of mesh together. We could do it lower. Wrong notes. Okay, so the 1, 8, 9, 10, or the 10th. 1, 5, 10. Or if you can stretch that, it's quite a stretch, that one. Then there's some ideas that you can do in the right hand with the melody. Once you're confident with the chords and you can play through, you can do a few embellishments in the melody, something like this perhaps. So just a little trill, little grace note there. You could also play notes from the chord in the right hand to fill it out a little bit. And again, another little embellishment in the right hand. So that's just some simple ways that you can take a piece. You don't have to play it the same every time. That's the whole point. If you get caught up in thinking, oh, I've got to do these notes the right way, then you're never going to make it work. I have a sheet music arrangement of this piece, but I've done this video tutorial for those who can't read music, who want to be able to play in an incidental style. What I've also done, and I'll get to that in a minute, is I've included some vamping chords at the end of the piece so that you can go into some more sort of improvised patterns. If you're playing in communion, you want to make it last a little bit longer, and I'll show you that shortly. So first, we'll continue to go through the piece, and I'll just play variations of the things I've just shown you to give you an idea. So start from the beginning, perhaps fairly soft, fairly minimal to start with. I left off the E minor 7 there, but it doesn't matter. That's the whole point. I'll show you what it would have been like from the B minor. And then the sus4. See what I'm doing there? You can do a resolve from the 4 to the 5th, or you can come up. It's quite effective. So what I really want you to get from this video is flexibility. Okay, if we move on, you've got the rest of the piece here going. You see there what I'm doing is I'm playing the melody and I'm playing an octave and this note in between. So the root of the key. And how you do that is the melody is this note A. We're playing a D over F sharp, and basically any notes in that chord shape will fit under the melody. So I've got the octave and a note from the D chord. When we go to the G, you can play those notes, just filling out the melody, adding notes in the right hand. Now there's a little embellishment here that if you watch closely, sounds really nice. And I've got this in the sheet music, but I'll show you how to do it. For this part, the melody goes. But what I do is this. And all I'm doing there is putting that little C sharp in between. You don't want to do it too much, but that's doing it double speed. It sounds a bit like this. I'm doing a 1, 5, 10 in the bass seal, the F sharp, D and the A. So I'll play that part again. Also, as you're playing, you can go up the octaves and pause a little bit like this. Okay, or even at the beginning. Okay, I'll play from the top again, watch the different embellishments, and then you'll be trying some for yourself shortly. Now what you see here is the A sus4, and in brackets I've got the B flat diminished, which is a lovely transition chord. This is what it sounds like. Going to the B minor. Now again, if you're just playing the simple chords, you can still make this work. So I'm going from here, nearer, my God. See, just a simple A to the B flat diminished to the B minor. You see that sort of glissando effect, which is quite nice. So I go. Seventh, A7, I'm just playing those two notes. Okay, so you might play it once through. The second time, maybe you can put the left hand an octave lower and continue to play up here. You see there, I'm just doing arpeggios in the D chord, G chord, F sharp under D. Again, if you can only play in a simple way, go around the chord, simple D, G, D, over the F sharp, A, flat diminished. Break it right down to finish. There may be an arpeggio in the sus. Glissando. So again, there's so many different ways you can play it, and I don't want you to think it's got to be done really difficult or not at all. It can be done simply, but it can be done simply and still sound effective. It can still sound nice on the ears. Just those two notes. Again, sounds lovely. If that's all you did through the communion time, it's going to be a blessing. It works for all of this. Just add a few notes extra. Maybe a low ending this time. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea. So now let's look at the vamping chords at the end of the piece. So in the 20-day church piano player course, I go through vamping. And basically vamping is when you're playing around chords, you're improvising, and you might do this at the beginning of a song, in between songs, or at the end of a song, particularly if you're doing incidental music where you just want to play around the chords, improvise a little bit, you're not actually playing the piece. So I've given you some chord ideas. You can use any chords that fit with the key of the piece. So the vamp progression here is B minor, G, D over F sharp, all these are chords from the piece, A sus A, B minor, G, E minor 7, A sus A. This is how it works. Maybe you've played it through once, you get to the end of the last line here. And then I'm just going to play around the chords, B minor. Very minimal. And you can go back in. So play that in a very basic way, and as you improvise this, in the most basic level, you're playing a B minor, the notes in the B minor chord will work. If you can play the B minor scale as well, they will work. You can experiment. So if I'm just playing a simple B minor, and again, if you're playing it in the simple style, you come out of the piece. D, sus to D, then B minor. It works. Chords together, notes together. Okay, a slightly more advanced way of playing a vamp, so come out the last line. Just improvising around those chords. So you get the idea there? Vamping chords. You could even begin with those. Again, if it's a longer time of offering or when people are coming in, you can just play around the chords. G, any of the notes will fit. Draw it out. Into the piece. So hopefully from going through this video, if you stop and start and play and watch over this several times, make sure you know the melody, practice around the chords. Of course, you need to know your scales, you need to know your basic chords. You should be able to confidently just play around these chords in the chart that I've given you and be able to play a flexible arrangement that doesn't sound the same every time, doesn't need to, some improvisation, and is enjoyable to play. So I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.